you doing, Sean? Hodder Rubino, Devil's Digest. So I know when you have time to digest everything, things maybe don't look as good as they did, or maybe as bad as they did in real time. But just the fact that you had significant changes with the starting quarterback, with you being the play caller, are you looking back at it and surprised that everything came together in such a positive manner and so quickly, or maybe early last week you realized that this can really work in short order?
You know, you always cross your fingers because it could be a disaster at some point. But I thought, from a preparation standpoint, and what I saw from both Trenton and Emery, and then the kids' excitement of opening it up a little bit, getting the tight ends involved. I was hopefully it was working. I thought our mismatches that were going into that game were advantageous for us. And so when you look back, was there points that we left on the board? I thought, from an execution standpoint, we could have been better, especially on third downs. We were at 50%, but I thought there was a couple of check down plays that we took shots at. But overall, I thought the kids did really, really well executing the plan that we put together in 3 days.
And on the defensive side, I mean, obviously the team did perform well for most quarters, but do you feel as maybe letting the foot off the gas pedal a little in the second half, and what did you make of that performance?
Going into the fourth quarter, we're up to three scores, and so you go get into that game. Do I help run the clock out, or do I just keep on going? And it's a catch-22 because that could happen and going the wrong way too. But I thought that we just needed to execute a few more plays. I didn't think we were good when I went back and checked the statistics. I didn't think we were good on first down runs. And that was something that I need to make sure that I do better myself. I thought we were 6 for 10 efficiently from a pass standpoint, but we weren't efficient enough on the runs. And so I need to make sure that we're deliberate on those and making sure it's an emphasis for our linemen to understand that we need 4 or 5 yards in that regards. But overall, I thought the kids did pretty well. Hey, Chris.
Chris Carpenter, Son of a Source. Upon review of the game, did you see enough from Trenton to say that he's going to be the quarterback for this week, or will there be continuing competition? And can you reflect on just kind of what you thought, how you thought he performed?
First of all, I thought he did an incredible job, getting the ball out quickly, making those decisions. That was kind of the game plan, making sure that it wasn't long progression, that we understand, from a stature standpoint, we had to do movements, we had to do all those things to give him a chance, and he did really, really well. Going back to that first question, Trenton has earned the right to be the starter. Our kids are doing well with him, and they trust him. It's a bad spot for Emery. A great conversation that we had with Emery is that, Coach, I'll be ready if the time comes. And so that's always hard on a kid. But Trenton will be our starter. I think he did everything right. He plays with that moxie and that little bit of it to it, and our kids trust him.
So, yeah, just to follow up, so what does that do? Sort of, does it provide anything in terms of just like settling things with the team, or what does that do for the offense?
I think it gives the offense confidence that Trenton will be the guy in going forward. But Emery is very competent and very willing and able to take care of this offense. Will there be different changes with both quarterbacks? I don't think so, because I think the offense will fit both of these guys. And so, but going forward, Trenton will be the guy that I think will give us the best shot to win.
Coach, Kevin Redford, House of Sparky. I'd like to go back to your Linfield days for a second.
That's a long time.
What, now through a good handful of games, do you ever recall back on anything Coach Rutschman taught you, or what have you taken from him in this process?
Coach Rutschman, it was a huge influence in why I went into coaching. I think they're at 67 consecutive years that they have not have a losing season. And I've been fortunate to be a part of that. The way he prepared, the way he took care of his players and his coaches is something that I try to do as well. And just the way he went about his business, and he's still there coaching kickoff returns. One of my coaches, Ed Langsdorf, is here, retired too, and so just a great coaching staff. But the culture that they had there is something I absolutely, definitely want to instill here 67 years and not have a losing season, and that's consecutively, I think you're doing something right. Man. Yeah, now we have some depth there. We still need to manufacture pressure. I think somebody asked me, in all of the Pac-12, there's probably only a couple of schools that are getting to the quarterback with just forward. We have to manufacture pressure. I think our D-line is getting back in full force. I think our linebackers are playing. We just need to fundamentally make sure that we run fit the run game because we've been exploited a little bit, and now we're going to face a UCLA team that runs the ball really, really well. And then we have to, again, the emphasis about the third downs. I showed them on there, they're at 50%. That's not good enough. And so we got to get off the field. A lot of it is the situation of football from a knowledge standpoint that we as coaches need to educate the kids. What do we need to do in order to be in situations that we understand the situation we need to get off the field? I don't know if kids play today, play to play more than the situational aspect of it, and that's from a coaching standpoint that we need to make sure we teach them so they understand it more. Okay, Michelle? He's running this morning, so we'll see how it goes this week, but he's questionable going in this week. So I haven't got with Jared because we have our 3 o'clock meeting in regards to any of the injury reports. So I know he was running out there, so we'll see how that plays it. All right. I think he's a huge weapon moving forward, just because they called him on TV the Ralphie running down the middle of the field. Shoot, he was looking for contact. I told him, you can't be doing that, looking for contact. But he feels more comfortable, I think, in space, blocking in space with his great big mitts. He making plays all over the field. So I think he is a lot more comfortable with the schematics that we brought, and he is a mismatch for the smaller safeties. And then they got to tackle that guy. And it looked like in the Colorado game, some guy shied away from that, and he's going full bore. I didn't know he was that fast, and so I teased him. But he must have been watching Ralphie run through the field at halftime. But he had an incredible game. Yeah, I think it's all factors. I think from an execution standpoint, for the kids' knowledge to understand, they're going to throw a slant. The reason why the receiver is a little wider because they're coming to you, and then we are backing up from it. From a schematic standpoint, we need to make sure that we are putting our kids in the best situations to stop that too. And so I think it's on both things. I sat down with Coach Donnie and Coach Marvin, and we need to fix that. And so they understand that it got my attention too. I thought at one point going into the fourth quarter, we're 3 scores up. I want to be 4 or 5. I don't want to be that guy that they're giving me. The cardiac kids, they're giving me that heart attack on the sideline. But I want to finish a game with 4 or 5 scores up, and we need to get off the field. And it's that cliche of putting the gas, and I don't want to say the stepping on the throat thing, but yeah, that's we need to finish games in a dominant factor. Yeah, he's one of our better linemen, and when you don't have that, and then you're shuffling guys around, there is that chemistry. But when you lose somebody that is means so much to that offensive line from a leadership standpoint, yeah, we miss him a lot. It's also thins our depth too, and so we're just praying that hopefully nobody goes down as well. But as soon as he gets back, I think we'll be full force and ready to go. It also gives the other guys some time to play other positions, and in case something happens again.
Hey, Coach.
Yes, no.
As far as the run defense, these past couple of weeks, you mentioned some holes in there, and then I just wanted to get your perspective on what some of the challenges have been and how you adjust to this next game. Obviously, with Charbonnet, really quite a big run game.
To me, from a schematic standpoint on a defense, everybody has a gap to fit. I mean, it's all run fits. When somebody does not do his job and strikes or uses his hands, puts on his head, slants the gap, does those things, then you put the guy next to you, then you got two gaps open. So it's all about execution from the kids on making sure that you fill your gap and not doing something that you shouldn't be doing, trying to gain an advantage. In the game of football, I think from a defensive standpoint, there's sometimes people get selfish and then I'm going to go make the play. Well, that's not your play to be made. You need to make sure you take care of your job. And so going forward from an emphasis standpoint, that's what I'm trying with the defense. Do your job. Other people will make plays, but the defense will get better. You don't have to go make the play. Just do your job and do your run fit, and then we'll be solid. I think we're solid from a fit standpoint. We're not solid from making the tackle, wrapping up, and we're not solid from everybody doing their job and everybody being on the same page. And that's what happens when you see us get hit for a couple of times. But just overemphasizing that with our kids. Yeah, and there are two different types of running backs. Charbonnet is the kind of the power guy. Dye was more of that slippery, lateral guy, and then burst guy. And so we need to make sure that we hit him as soon as he gets to the line of scrimmage and not let him get going. And so, again, going back to those run fits, we got to be solid on those, and then we got to wrap up and then play team defense. And when one guy's got him wrapped up, everybody got to be to the football. And so that's our emphasis this week.
Hey, Coach Jake Anderson, Arizona Sports. You taking over the play calling duties. What's kind of going to be the role of Glenn Thomas here going forward?
Glenn does a great job. He was up in the, he handles the pass game with me. We go back information-wise from the top. We're always talking. It's always hard for someone when you have to make that decision, but he's done great with our quarterbacks, with Trenton, in that conversation. We still sit down and game plan together, and so it is a team effort on the offensive side. Maybe the play calling is a little different, but the way we prepare is exactly the same, and so he plays a huge part in that. You're welcome. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Explosive plays. You look at it, we gave up, a long touchdown, pretty deep defense, which hope never happens, right? Then when we're in a man and one guy comes off his man for another 32 yards, we had a couple of runs that you're talking about the pass, really. So really, those two was the two that I can remember. Touchdown, obviously. And like I said, we're in a pretty deep coverage, and we hope that never happens. We're in a man, and the guy takes his eyes off the man, and they run around the sideline. Those are the things. Well, you know what happened? One guy got one of our corners cramped up or something like that, and so that's when we made the change. And then as soon as we made the change, a couple of plays later, they found him and got him. So it wasn't that we were trying to substitute. No, it just happened that way. No, we're thin at spots, but we were still thinking. My thoughts are, let's play as much as you can, and if you need a break, we'll give you a break. but to just randomly substitute, I know. Just let the guys play.
And Coach, from letting them play at that standpoint, I mean, the defensive line, Coach Aguano was touching on it, getting off the field on third downs. It looks like, I mean, there were spurts in the game where, again, they were having their way. Just your thought on how the defensive line played throughout the game.
Well, I think they played relatively good. The third down situations is like you said. There's times we had 3 and outs, 4 and outs, a couple of 5s, then we had a couple of 8, 9, 10 play drives. Those things did happen, but up front, I don't know how many sacks we had. I can't remember. But up front, we stopped the run, but again, we had the 2 long runs. One of them I'll take the credit for the one, and I probably shouldn't have made that particular call on first down. It wasn't a great first down call for the run. It was probably better for a third down for the passing situation. Sometimes you try to make things happen and you get what you ask for. That's what happened. So that was the one run that came out right, I don't know, early in the game. Guy running around for about 25 yards. And even though it was a situation where you think somebody should have had the guy, the tackle got up on him, cut him off, and gets up the field. And I'm saying a word in the box because I know it shouldn't have been called. So I got to take that one for sure. I can hear you. Well, I think, when I first got here 2 years ago, Ed was one of the recruits that they brought from Northern Cal. And when I was just coming back from, the pros, and I saw this kid, and it was Ed, and I was like, wow. He had all the intangibles. He could change directions. He got his hands on the ball. He was physical. And that was his freshman year, and he didn't play much then. And then the COVID year came up, I believe. That might have been the COVID year, yeah. And then last year, we had the older guys playing, so he never got an opportunity. This year, he had some family issues that he had to solve at home. So all those things over the 3 years, he hadn't been able to actually concentrate on playing football. So I called him in one day, and I said to him, you know what you need to do? You need to get back to the guy that I met when I first got here. You competed every snap. Guys beat you, so what? You were physical, you knew what to do, and you competed. That's what you got to get back to. And as you can see, he you get to one pass interference, which it should have been holding, really. And I said to him, and I've said to our staff, Ed might get a call or two, but you know what? You got to live with him because he's competing hard, and that's what he's done. He's done it in practice, so he's earned that. He's earned that spot.
Coach, I was talking to Coach Aguano, obviously playing USC earlier, seeing Travis Dye. Now you have Zach Charbonnet this week. I know they're not the same type of running back, but what can you take from how you guys pseudo-contain Dye onto Charbonnet?
I hope you guys remember the guy in the back asked me a couple of weeks ago about the quarterbacks, and I told him, all them quarterbacks we've been seeing, it's the same thing now with the running backs. We're seeing a bunch. We've seen some good running backs in this league. This kid, we were writing him up and talking about him. He's quick. He's got great change of direction. He's elusive in the hole. He gets his pass going downhill. He catches the ball out the backfield. And when he gets down low, he can get an extra yards because he's powerful. So obviously we got to stop the run, and he's probably, you got 2 of those guys back there. The quarterback's also a dangerous guy when he's got his hands on the ball. So you got to pick your poison, but the bottom line is you got to stop the run, and he's the guy that's managing the run first. So you got to get him stopped. Mm-hmm. Well, we're looking at it right now. The thing that he does that you really have to be prepared for is all the motions and change directions and misdirection plays. At the same time, the RPOs. At the same time, he can throw the ball down the field. At the same time, he can get the quarterback on the perimeter. So what he's really doing to you is making sure you play 11 on 11 football. You know, some people say you got 9 on 11 or 10 on 11, but he's making 11 on 11 because you got to account for that quarterback on the perimeter. So that's what he's doing. And you know what else he's doing? He's putting up points. You know, no matter what you say, you look at whoever they played, he putting up points. And that offense is clicking because, in my opinion, he gets guys running laterally, and he gets guys looking at bad eyes, and next thing you know, it's an explosive play here, and you're looking at the quarterback. Next thing you know, the running back's down the middle. You know, I think that's what he's doing well. He's scheming, and the other thing is he's still with the tempo. You know, the tempo catches you too. If you get caught with the tempo, you know, you're trying to get lined up. Well, he's already got the play, and they already know where they're going. They're on the ball and they're going. So you go back and look at him. He's got the tempo. He's got the misdirections. He's got the quarterback. He's got the running back. And they're scoring points. They must be playing pretty good defense, too, because I haven't looked at the defense when it's all said and done. Getting the ball back to him. Well, it's pretty simple. When we do our job, we got a better chance of winning. And we eliminate giving up the explosive plays. If we don't do our job and everybody doesn't do what they're supposed to do every snap, bad things happen. I mean, that's when the errors come in. That's when the big plays come in. With this team right now that I'm in charge of, or that I have the pleasure of coaching, that's some of the things I talk to them about. When you're a good defense, you don't give up explosive plays. You stay where you're supposed to play and you do your job. You don't worry about the other guy doing his job. You play the scheme, and you do what you're supposed to do right now. When you try to, and it's like anything else, guys try to do too much, and that's what really gets you in trouble. You know, they're guessing. You know, you got the guessing game going on, and next thing you know, you guess wrong. Well, you got to trust your teammate too. You got to trust that he's going to do what he's supposed to do, and that's where we're at right now. When you look at UCLA, that's what. When I talk to him tomorrow, that's the first thing I'm going to bring up. If you really want to know what we got to do, everybody's got to do their job. They can't be guessing with this. And you got to know where your eyes are supposed to go. You got to be disciplined. You got to be gap sound, and you got to tackle. That's going to be the other thing. You're going to have to tackle these guys. I mean, because they're running the football. No matter what you think, they are running the football. They try to make it seem like they're throwing it a lot, but when it's all said and done, they are running the football. Good? Okay.